we had a review with our doctors. Both of us don't have it. We are the silent, like silent. We don't manifest any symptoms or anything like that. Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amara and this is my IVF journey. So it's an update. it's been a roller coaster or whirlwind. So we have all our blood work done, all the investigations are done. Then we had a review with our doctors. So my last video, I was where I went to get my blood work done, my baseline blood work done. After that, it took a couple of weeks. Then we had all our blood work, the results sent over to our doctors. So first we had to do a genetics counseling because they did a genetic test on both of us. Then we had to do a genetic counseling first before we had a review with our primary doctor. Why did we do that? So there are some traits or some things that I have and my husband has. We both carry different genes. So there are things that I have, like 3, but 2, they are both recessive. So not something I can pass on to I can't pass it on, but both of us don't have it. So it's not a problem. He has 1, I have 2. Then the third one is what both of us have together. It's called alpha thalassemia. So both of us are silent carriers of that gene. And according to the genetics doc, that's why you had to do the genetics counseling. So according to the genetics doctor, it's not a cause for alarm. There are like 3 types of the alpha thalassemia, or 4. We are the silent, like silent. We don't manifest any symptoms or anything like that. So even though we pass it off to our offspring, it's not going to cause a problem. Then she also said she's not like going to strongly recommend we do PGTM, which is a more in-depth testing the embryos for specific genes, gene markers or something like that. She doesn't recommend it because the ones both of us have are like the silent ones. It's not going to cause a problem. So we had to have that counseling first before we had the review with our primary doctor. The next day, we had the review with our primary doctor. Everything is looking good. For me, my ultrasounds, endometrial biopsy, everything was looking good. Then the resting follicles that they found, I had about 42 resting follicles on the baseline ultrasound that I did. They are looking for 20 and I had 42, which is a good sign. Then my AMH, they are looking for 3. Mine was like 6 point something. So she said she's going to put me on the low dose protocol for the IVF stimulation. I'm going to be on the low dose protocol because with my numbers, she anticipates that I respond properly to the stimulation drugs. So she's not going to put me on the high dose. If she does that, I might have hyperstimulation. So she's going to put me on the low dose because with the numbers and the follicle counts that they found, I'm going to respond appropriately. Then for my husband, his labs, everything are all negative, everything are all normal, but his semen analysis, the volume was good, the motility was good. There is another one was good, but the only problem was the morphology. So they are looking for about 4 and above, and his was less than 2%. That's like the shape of the head and the tails. So she said with that, they are going to do ICSI, which is like when the semen is being produced, they're going to handpick the normal ones, the ones that have normal heads and tail, and inject it directly into the egg. So that's that. And with all that said, we are kicking off 2025 with IVF. It's still January and that's the plan. So once my cycle begins, or once my next period comes, which is beginning of a new cycle, we are going to kick it off. So the plan is that it's going to be in 3 phases. I'm going to do suppression, stimulation, then the egg retrieval. What does that mean? So once my cycle comes, I'm going to be put on birth control pills to suppress my natural system of ovulation, kind of. So it's going to suppress it. Then we're going to be doing monitoring to make sure that everything is working. Once it's at I think if I'm not mistaken, the The birth control is going to be for 2 weeks. So after the 2 weeks, we're going to reconvene, check ultrasound, blood work, make sure the levels are where they are supposed to be and the eggs are actually sleeping. So once they're suppressed enough, then I'm going to stop the birth control and start the stimulation phase. So after the stimulation, depending on how I respond, the medications, they're going to be monitoring also. So lots of appointments coming up. They're going to be monitoring that. Then once it gets to the size they want, we are going to enter the phase 3, which is the egg retrieval, then fertilization, and all the things that come after that. Because I've had multiple miscarriages, I've had 2 that we know of, we are going to be doing frozen transfer. We're not going to be doing a fresh transfer because the embryos, when they are fertilized, they need to be sent for PGTA testing, which is to test that they have normal amount of chromosomes, because according to science, the number 1 cause of miscarriage is chromosomal abnormality, except if there is any other thing. But looking at all our blood work, there is nothing to suggest that's why it's happening. So they just want to cross all the T's and dot all the I's. It's not like it's a guarantee that, when the results come back and you transfer a normal embryo, that it's going to stick and carry through the 9 months or 10 months of pregnancy. It's not like a guarantee, but at least you say, okay, you did what you're supposed to do. Not when you transfer, you'd be like, probably if I did this, maybe we would have known better or something like that. So we're going to do that. We're not going to do the bigger one, like the genetics counselor advice. We're not going to be doing, because we don't really have anything that is going to cause any problem for the offspring. Family history, nothing. She asks us up to our 10th generation. there is nothing really in the family history. Then genetically, from what they did, it's not 100%, but from what they have, the results they have, there is nothing that could have suggested why the multiple miscarriages had happened. So we're going to be doing the PGTA testing. That's why we're going to be doing a frozen embryo transfer. So with everything, the timeline is kind of like we start there is another thing, insurance. So now that we have a plan, we're doing this, the financial advisor is going to go through with the insurance authorization kind of. My insurance has IVF coverage. I think they cover about 60%. Then I have 4 cycles in a year covered, which is good. Unlike my husband's insurance, we are both on different insurance plans. Mine is through my employer, his is through his employer. He works in an organization, is a Catholic organization who has who doesn't believe in artificial conception. So they do not provide coverage for IVF or infertility treatments. They do not provide coverage for that. So that's why we are on different plans, which is even better for me, because most of the billing, the whole thing is going to build on my name. Even though from everything that I've learned, even if it's a male factor infertility that you're dealing with, everything goes on a woman. You are going to be the parent number 1. All the bills are going to be coming through you. So I want to believe it's better the woman has a good insurance. If both of you are on the same plan, even better, like it covers. But because the woman is going to be on the forefront, it's better the woman has a good insurance. I don't know. Don't quote me on that, but that's what I'm thinking. So that's that. The insurance is going to come. So we're waiting on a few things now. One, for my next period to come, if it comes, then insurance. And then we have lots of paperwork that we have to sign. There is one that my primary doctor has to sign, because I'm hypertensive. So I need to get clearance from my primary doctor. So we have all those in the works pending when my period starts. And then if I believe that before we get to the IVF proper, which is the stimulation, that the insurance should have come through. Sometimes it takes a while, but I believe it should have come through. At least we know or have an idea of what our responsibility is going to be, because it's not 100% covered. Even though my insurance has coverage, it's not 100%. There are still things that are going to be our responsibility, like embryo freezing and storage is going to be our responsibility. Then sometimes that's embryo testing is not covered with the insurance, so that still has to be our responsibility out of pocket. Then we did talk about plans are going to be changed. Like, this is what we have hoped for. We hoped that it happens naturally, but it's not happening. And we both desire to have kids, maybe 1, maybe 2. We both desire to have kids. So since it's not happening naturally and there is a scientifically way to help, we're going to pursue that route. So there are other things that have to be changed. There are plans that have to be changed. Like my husband, he's in school. He has an exam that he has to travel out of the country to write. But because of this, we agreed that while he puts things in place for him to be able to travel, because there are things like his work, he had to get permission from work, put in PTO hours and all that. So while he does that, we can kick off the IVF because we need him for the during the egg retrieval. He needs to give his semen. We thought about, okay, he can freeze the semen and be able to travel, but then that's extra cost. You're trying to save as much cost as you can, and then you're trying to incur more for yourself by yourself, because they're not just going to keep it. They are going to charge for the storage and for the freezing and the storage. And then with the morphology being an issue, you don't really know when they defrost it or when they thaw that sample you're going to keep, if it's going to be worth it to be able to fertilize the egg. So we thought about that. We're like, okay, no, that money that we are going to pay to freeze it and store it, we can use it to do something else. So we both agreed on him staying, putting things in place, and then producing a fresh sample on the egg retrieval. All things going well. Hopefully we'll kick off like middle of January, and hopefully by end of February or first week of March we should be having egg retrieval done or something like that. But fingers crossed everything goes well. But that's the plan for now, and that's the updates. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.